Mr. McIntosh says,
You don't have to make duct tape cloth. But you should.
Hi, today we're going to learn how to make duct tape cloth. You see here I have some gray duct tape. I also have some blue duct tape and something to cut it with, in this case a box cutter or utility knife. You could also use a pair of scissors if you wanted to. Now I'm going to make a piece of cloth that's about 8 inches wide, roughly, when it's finished. So I need to start with a piece of tape that's bigger than that, say about 9 inches, because it will be trimmed to its final dimensions when we get done. Now, it's kind of convenient to work on a cutting board like I am here today because it has a grid on it that can help you measure. Plus duct tape doesn't stick to it very well, so that's very convenient also. So here I'm cutting my first piece, my starter piece, about 9 inches long. And I lay it down here and get my second piece ready to go, about the same length, roughly 9 inches. And again, this will be used to create a final piece of cloth about 8 inches long. The edges don't have to be super neatly trimmed, but if they're not frayed, it's just a little bit easier to work with. So I begin by putting one piece down on the cutting board with the sticky side up. Then I take the second piece and I put it sticky side down, overlapping the first piece about halfway. So half of the sticky side is covered, and this retains the other half of the sticky side of that bottom piece up. So now I have half of a sticky side on both sides of the tape. Then I take one of the sticky sides and I fold it over to get rid of it and sort of make the bottom sealed off section of what will eventually turn out to be this piece of cloth. So one side there's no sticky surface, and on one side has half of a sticky surface. Now I get my next piece of tape ready. In this case I'm using blue to make a two-tone tape. Since the tape doesn't stick very well to the cutting board, you can kind of temporarily tape it down on one end to facilitate working with the other end. It's convenient to work with the sticky side facing towards you. So here I have the sticky side up facing towards you, and again I put sticky side down and overlap that, covering the sticky side with my new piece of tape. You want to try to match those pieces up as well as you can so that you don't have a gap there. There it is. Then I flip it over again, try to smooth out the tape to get rid of air bubbles. Now if you really take your time and are careful with this, you can get it so there's no air bubbles at all. If you wanted to, you could cut all your pieces of tape out first and have them ready to go. I'm just cutting them one at a time here. So I have the sticky side up on my working piece facing towards me. Duct tape, sticky side down on top of that. And you just sort of proceed in this fashion, constantly flipping your growing piece of cloth over and over again with the sticky side up facing towards you and laying a new piece of tape down on top of it. And since watching people make duct tape cloth is a little boring, I've just speeded the process up here a little bit. Smoothing it out as you go. I'm kind of anxious to get done since it's not very exciting to watch duct tape cloth being made. So if I was really going to use this for a serious project, I'd be quite a bit more careful about getting the bubbles out and matching the pieces up. When you get to your final length, you fold over the remaining exposed section of duct tape so there are no more sticky sides exposed. And you go ahead and smooth out the bubbles as good as you can. And use your thumbnail and kind of scrape it across the bubbles. It will help push them out. And there's a piece, maybe about 7 inches wide, ready for trimming. Now we're going to trim it. Well, again, the cutting board really helps here, because you can line up your piece of cloth with the grid. And count it over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, roughly. Line it up, and I use a metal straight edge, or plastic or a wooden one would work too, with the grid where I want the trim cut to take place. So here I use my utility knife. One swoop across there, peels that off. Very nice clean edge right there. Same thing on the other side. Should be pretty square now, so I line my trimmed edge with the grid, count over the number of inches that I want, set up the straight edge, and carefully make the trim cut. Cutting boards are self-healing. You don't have to worry about damaging them. They'll last a long time. And there is a final piece of duct tape cloth about 8 inches by 7 inches.